Hey everybody, this is John Eric Bentley, the voice of Barrett Wallace from Final Fantasy VII, the remake, so many other projects, and more importantly, you are listening to Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. Yeah.
And welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast and the #1 podcast in the Pacific, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm your host, Mccalla Kasanova, and today I am honored to have the one, the only, the phenomenal Cloudie McDoom. Dude, how you doing today?
I'm good. Just hanging out, just doing the thing.
I feel you, man. I feel you. It's such an honor to have you on the show. I know we were chopping it up a little bit before we started recording this, but dude, I love your content, from the streams to like the YouTube videos to the TikTok videos to the social media posts. Your energy is infectious, man. I just gotta ask, how did you get started? What's the story? Walk me through. Let's step in the DeLorean, go back in time, and let's just what's the origin story?
Okay, I'll see if I can compact this. So basically, long before I even started doing content creation, I was doing mostly videography at conventions, cosplay videos, under my entertainment company called AKIOBOY. So that was what I spent many years doing. I'd meet cosplayers, film them, have fun, edit. So then a couple years ago, I'd say maybe 2017 or so, I was like, I kind of want to make my own content. Like, I'm not a full-blown cosplayer, but I want to like get in my videos and do some silly stuff. So I started doing a couple of skits on AKIOBOY, the channel, which didn't pop off that well because everyone was more used to the cosplay videos, and I understandably so. So fast forward, I kind of broke away and made my own channel, Cloudie McDoom, where I just started dumping stuff and post stuff on Instagram and Twitter, all that good stuff. And it wasn't until 2018, after beating a game called Red Dead Redemption 2. Sorry, I'm doing the Obama years. I'm like doing the. Back in 2018, I did the thing. So like, so now like, all jokes aside, I did a video of Arthur Morgan. It was Red Dead Redemption 2 in a nutshell.
Boy, don't nobody move and you won't get shot. Now you look here, boy. Lenny, where are you, Lenny? Lenny, where are you, boy? Easy, boy. Everything for Dutch. Boy. Hey, Abigail. Boy. Always one more train, Dutch. I'm an American. Pretty boy.
Ever since our mom and pa died, it's just been the two of us, but
we sure know how to have a whole killing time.
Oh, yes.
Easy, boy. I hate that Dutch. Simmer down, Kieran. Don't lose your head over it, boy. Let me tell you, boy.
And that exploded. Like, that blew up like crazy, to the point that Roger Clark, the actor who plays Arthur, hit me up on Instagram like, hey man, this was really funny, it's really cool, yada yada. So we became friends, and like, that we've done skits and stuff together. But yeah, basically that's how it happened. That's how I started, and then I kind of evolved and did some like Kingdom Hearts stuff and Final Fantasy and all that. That's the stuff that a lot of people know me for now, is the Kingdom Hearts, Sora, and the Keyblade, all that stuff. So yeah, that's a condensed version.
Man, don't give the condensed. I told you, flex. We want to see the flex.
Well, okay. I mean, yeah, like, so basically, like, that's the basic story. But what really got me into that stuff is just because I've grown up on video games, and like I've been obsessed with like emulating those. Like I'm that kind of weird kid who would walk around the house pretending he was those characters. So like, however they walked in the game, like I was walking through the hallway like that, turning my body like video games. I was just weird like that. I enjoyed doing that stuff. So then I get older, and then it's like, well, there's a platform to do it on. And I didn't even know like that was gonna be the thing that pops me off again. Like after Red Dead Redemption kind of lost its it didn't lose its flair, but like you do something enough and then people are like, okay, well, when I transitioned and started doing the Kingdom Hearts stuff, I did a lot of video game walk cycles. So I was pretending to be Sora and I'd swing the Keyblade around, stuff like that. Yeah. And like people just jumped on that. They love seeing me pretend to be a video game character. So yeah, man. And now here we are.
Well, I mean, and it's one of the things, like, I feel like you and I are around the same age range. And it's like, you look at, like, for us growing up, like, gaming was something that people would always like, oh, that's for kids. That's, that's not something that's ever going to pop off. But then it's it's like bigger than every other entertainment industry that there is right now. Oh, and like being a content creator in this sphere right now with gaming is like the opportunities are endless. Like I don't feel like there's ever been a time, especially after this last year, where like being a content creator is actually a super viable career field.
Oh yeah. If you flex it right and like maneuver, which I'm still learning, but like I've seen people take it and turn it into something enormous. You know what I mean? Like you got the pro gamers out there, the streamers. And even in my case, I'm starting to make a little bit of income, like off of my YouTube, Twitch, things like that. So like, it's a slow process. I can't quit my day job yet, but like, I can see the potential. Like if I keep grinding and learning new stuff and keeping people entertained, like really, like I have my finger on the pulse of like what people like in terms of like gaming videos and comedy. Like I got that on lock, like I got that, but it's all about kind of maneuvering and kind of going with the ebbs and flow of the entertainment world, especially in the gaming one, like once I start to realize that some content is kind of losing its flair a little bit, I'll kind of gravitate to something else that I like, like I could easily tomorrow decide I'm going to start just cranking a bunch of Mario stuff, even if it's not popping right now. If I can hone in on something that everyone's familiar with, like from the past, that universal like that we get from a game, then I'm on it,
I definitely feel and that's one of the things too. That's like, I feel like for a lot of people, a lot of content creators, especially like when it comes to trying to keep up or keep their hands, finger to the pulse of what's going on, that's not easy. Like it's not easy keeping up with that. Like even for me, like with doing like reviews and stuff for different games, or what game do I stream, what game do I cover, I'm like, man, what's jumping off right now? Like it's not easy keeping up with that, because there's some stuff, and maybe you've been there, where it's like I'll cover it or I'll do it, I'm not that interested in it, but it's where it's at right now.
Yeah, I can all right, so this might make me seem like a poser, but recently, like a week or so ago, I made a video. It was about Resident Evil 8. The hype that's around Resident Evil Village with the big lady and the yoking you up. So everyone's going nuts over there. They're simping over big lady Dimitrescu or whatever. I call her Big Mama Turkey. I've only played Resident Evil 1 remake. Like I streamed that like months ago. Scared me. Well, it didn't scare me. It disturbed me in some parts, right? So I'm not a huge Resident Evil fan. So me making that Resident Evil Big Mama Church Hat video was just me jumping on a trend, but it exploded.
Come to Mama
So like everyone was reposting the video, yada yada, etc. But I can't honestly say I know enough about Resident Evil to be like making a ton of videos like that, Like I'm definitely, kind of faking the funk for that one. But it works because like it's a general idea. Like even if you haven't played the games, like the video I made was me simping over the big lady. Like that's it. Yeah. Like it's, you know what I'm saying? So
at least you haven't got like, okay, so I'm actually not a huge Resident Evil fan either, and I had a situation where like I was streaming. So what's this? I think it was like last year. Yeah, it was the beginning of last year. I had a situation where I was streaming AMR2 or another Metroid remake. So I was playing that, and then I had one of my audience members pop in. They're like, "Oh, you better start playing all the Resident Evil games." I'm like, "I don't own them, and I'm not about to spend money on it." Then they're like, "Donation, donation, donation, donation." I'm like, "Y'all serious?" I'm like, "All right, I'm not doing that." And then they kept donating. I was like, "Okay, fine, fuck, I'll play it." And then when it got down to like Resident Evil 7, I was like, "Look, I ain't playing this shit because it's first person. It's scary as hell. I'm scary as like you don't scare black people. You know what it's like?
I mean, that's unwritten. That's the rule.
That's the rule, right? You don't do that." Then they're like, "You gonna play it in VR?" Hell no, I'm not playing that in VR. Then they're like, "Donate it. Here you go. You got to go buy it."
Oh, they just setting you up for failure right there. That's man.
You know what? I could totally see like you playing Resident Evil 7 and 8 in VR.
Oh my god, dude! I don't now. What's happening is you're trying to transfer what they put on you.
Yes.
You're trying to put it here.
Yes.
That's why I gotta stop you there, player. I don't know if I don't know. Obama hands. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't think I'm gonna do it.
Oh man, but I know you said with all the videography and everything. So I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I have an assumption that you're in IT.
Believe it or not, I'm not per se, as in like I don't have a career in it. I mean, we've grown up with computers and stuff, but like I'm just really good at video editing, if that makes any sense, and Photoshop and stuff like that. Like I'm good at like getting my point across visually. Like if I'm trying to show like something really complex in my head, I'm good at doing that, but I'm not like, nobody can call me up and like, "Hey, my computer's down, come fix all it." Like, like I can tell them, "Hey, run AVG or Mccalla, call it a day." But no, like I'm just just a geek. I think what it is I dedicate myself to my fandoms in a sense of anything I'm gonna do, like video wise, I dive in. Like I dedicate to the character, as much as I can the outfit. Like I'll pull some stuff out the closet, some wigs and stuff. But I try to make it as like, here's the funny thing with me. So picture like a really skilled cosplayer, right? Like super skilled with accuracy. So I'm like the opposite of that. Like my stuff is like half-assed, but it's creative enough to where you know what I'm trying to do, right? So when it comes to my videos though, those are top notch. So like, even though I look like crappy in my cosplay, the video hits so hard that it's like, we can look over the fact that he wears some swim trunks and some house shoes, like we can look over that.
Okay. So with the whole cosplay thing, how did you get into that?
Okay, I can pinpoint that. That was 2013.
Okay.
I used to be a part of another brand. I won't mention the name because, me and the owner aren't even on good terms at all.
I understand.
So I was with a brand. I saved up, bought a camera, and I was at a free comic book day event. So this lady was like, "Hey, you're making video, taking pictures. Cool. Why don't you take this badge and come to my event next Saturday?" I was like, "Okay, cool." So that was my first taste of like the real cosplay world. So I was running around making a video and stuff. And from there, I just kind of built my AKIOBOY name up, which it wasn't AKIOBOY yet. I was still with the other brand. But that was the birth of my AKIOBOY Entertainment. And I spent years doing cosplay videos, Dragon Con, Anime Week in Atlanta, all those. In fact, I'm going to plug this. If you want to look on YouTube under AKIOBOY Entertainment, you can see my track record of like all the cosplay stuff I did way before Cloudie McDoom. So that's like my personal history. That's kind of how I got started with it, and then leads up to now. All the things I learned doing cosplay videos, I transferred into my Cloudie stuff. So like the skits and the special effects and stuff. Yeah, it's all from that.
What's like the average duration of like with developing, like coming up with all the cosplay itself to the skit to the editing? Like how long does that take you, like start to finish, usually on an average?
Okay, I guess on average, I'm gonna exclude a recent one I did called Final Fantasy Boss in a Nutshell. It was like a full-blown simulated fantasy fight. I don't know if you saw
You had me dying when I was looking at that. I was like, yo, that's
okay, so that's the exception. That took me a hot minute to like program the battle system and all the animations and stuff. But other videos on average, those I'd say filming it and then editing, maybe 5 to 6 hours, depending on what it is. Like if it's a TikTok, I mean that's pretty quick. You know, it's just something quick and one and done. But I'll use let me think. We'll just say average 5 to 6 hours, just across the board, encompassing everything. Even though that's way under for that Final Fantasy, way under.
Okay. And with with being on all the different platforms, so you're on TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, like in your own words, like your own opinion, how vital is it to not only be on these different platforms, but to actually understand how they work to like be successful and grow?
I would say it's essential in the sense of if you're trying to grow, like if you're actually taking it seriously and you're trying to say, look, I'm creating my own brand, I'm trying to get out there, I'm trying to do this stuff. I would say you got to be on all of them, because I used to hate TikTok. I'll be honest, like I hated it. My girlfriend Panadonia, that's her cosplay name. Like she would be at the house chilling, scrolling through TikToks nonstop. She's like, babe, look at this. I'm like, I don't care about TikTok. She pretty much brainwashed me. Like she low-key brainwashed me. And I have to give her props on that, because like her constantly pushing TikTok in my face forced me to say, okay, fine, I'll go make some TikToks. And I tried to make some and they sucked. So I was like, I hate it even more. But then again, that Kingdom Hearts one, that was the pivot more. That was a pivot point for my Kingdom Hearts content. Like the whole thing I told you about jumping around in the yard and stuff. Doing that blew me up on TikTok. So then I understood the value of said TikTok. But for everyone, like to answer your question, I think it's important for everybody to really pay attention to all those platforms. Just put the stuff out there, because it doesn't hurt anything, you know? Like all you're doing is expanding your reach to different sectors, of that market. But like I noticed that I have a huge reach on Facebook, pretty good reach on Instagram, Twitter, pretty good when I post videos, YouTube, kind of, sort of. So like it's different for each one, but you still got to put it out there.
Like, do you find yourself having to fight with the algorithm on each different platform? Because I feel like, and this is just my own opinion on it, but I feel like with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, like I could do something that goes really well on Twitter. Instagram is always prompting me to pay to promote. And then Facebook is over here like, what you trying to do with this? It's like, what you
want? What do you want from us? We can't help you. I get what you're saying. And it's funny you use those keywords, fighting the algorithm, because that was the whole joke of the Final Fantasy one. I like that. That was good. You thought I wouldn't catch it. That was good. But now, like, the algorithm, it's just like, it's weird, because some stuff I've done where I didn't put any effort into it, like it blows up. And it's a weird thing. Like, it's just odd, And then stuff I put my heart and soul into, it's just the algorithm's like, so like, honestly, it's hit or miss, man. I feel like if you stay true to like your fan base, like the ones who tune in repeatedly, that want to see your stuff, they're naturally gonna like share it to the people who need to see it. So it's not like, I think the mentality I had that was wrong was sorry, somebody was messaging me on Discord.
No, you good.
The problem I think I was having was I was obsessed over this idea of every video I make has to go viral. Like everyone in the grandmama has to see this video. And then you go on and you realize, well, no, just like my fan base, like the people who care about me and my content, I want them to see it, because they're going to engage it. They're going to share it. They're going to comment on it. They're going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's when I realized that's what you're supposed to do, because it's like people's attention spans, you got to remember, it's just like, and then it's over.
Yeah.
But if they actually like you, let me get like if they actually like you, then like you're doing good. Because I've noticed even my Twitch streams, they've started to grow because those people that tune in like my content. They like to see the games I play and stuff. They like hanging out with me. Versus just being a ton of people who don't know you. And it's like, I mean, I guess we're here to support whoever this is, but we don't really care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I know it's a long-winded answer, but like, I'd say cultivate your fan base. Believe in your fan base. Like mine is the Squall. That's what we call ourselves, the Squall. Cloudie and the Squall. So there you go.
I dig it. Other thing I wanted to dive into with you, like, so I know you're also an actor and a director. How did you get into those?
You know what's funny? I technically was a director when I was a kid. And let me explain.
Okay.
I used to play with a program called RPG Maker. Like, I loved it. Like, I got RPG Maker 2000 and 2003 were my jams. So, like, I would spend so much time on those, even to the point I remember I flunked, like, algebra in the 7th or 8th grade. Like, it was crazy. Because I spent so much time on the computer just, like, coding that stuff. It's like, okay, make this character walk this many squares over. Make the camera move this way. Okay, make this character walk. Like, that was my brain as a kid. You know what I'm saying? But, like, then you get older and you're like, okay, I'm going to use this camera now. I don't know how to direct for real, but I'm going to wing it. So all my brain did was it just pulled from the stash of what I did as a kid. Like, okay, make your friend so-and-so walk over there. Move the camera that way. All right, make them come this way. Move the camera. Like, it was like a puzzle coming together perfectly, And I think as far as the acting goes, I come from a family that's like really like big personalities. Like my dad, rest in peace, like he had a crazy big personality. Like, he'd go to like Walmart and talk to strangers, make people laugh. My older sister, she's the same way. Like my cousins, like they sing and all this stuff. So like it's in me too. It's just in a geeky fashion. Like I'm definitely like mine has a geek filter on it. You know what I'm saying? So like I do the same thing as them. It's just very nerdy. But that's honestly with the acting, that's just kind of how it is, You just jump into that character and commit. So if I'm playing a chick who's jiggling ass on the floor, I got to do it. If I'm playing a cowboy who's badass, I got to do it. Like I can't like stop. Like no, I can't do that. I'm too cool for that because it kills the illusion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
man, it made me think of like wrestling, like trying to keep kayfabe, man. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it is, man.
For real though, like okay, so you brought up RPG Maker 2000. So you taking me back to when I was a kid, dude. Okay. Hours. I was okay. It got to the point when I was so hooked on like RPG Maker 2000 and 2003 as well. My mom got to the point where she took my copy of it because she said I was spending too much time playing that damn game and designing things to like she was just like I forgot where is she? I think she kept it in her purse. And then when I figured out it was in her purse, then she went and put it in the case. And when she goes to sleep, she put it under her pillow. So I'm like, damn, really? You really? And then now when she looks back on it, she's like, damn, she's like, you're really into that. I'm like, yeah, because that kind of stuff, that freedom to create,
it's like no other.
It's really not.
Like, even what's funny about that is, I think even now, and I've even posted videos and kind of statuses about this, I feel like even now when I make the game simulated videos, I still want to be a game developer. Like, the content is fun. People know me for it. But, like, I think at some point I'm going to, like, hit a platform where I'm like, all right, I have a big enough fan base. I'm going to transition to, like, making my own game studio and stuff like that. Because that's what I grew up in. Like, that's the world that made me happy before content creation. You know what I'm saying? So that's inevitable.
Well, I was going to say this, dude. If you ever come out here to Hawaii, let me know. I got you. You can kick it with me. Two blocks down the street from me is the creator of Final Fantasy, Hironobu Sakaguchi. He lives 2 houses down from me. So
what?
Dead serious, dead ass. I introduced you to him because he's cool as hell. Dude goes surfing every other morning. He is cool as hell. Every time I go to the Safeway, which is the grocery store right down the street, run into him every single time. One of the coolest people ever. I'll introduce you to him.
Ooh, that makes me feel like Final Fantasy X, Beast Island is like based on Hawaii now. Like that's what I'm telling myself. Like, oh wow, that's crazy.
Well, there's a lot of truth to it because even back then, he actually used to come out here to Hawaii a lot and surf. And also, the Square Enix headquarters used to be downtown Honolulu. So, just saying, you come out here, you let me know, need a place to stay, I got you, and I introduce you to Hironobu Sakaguchi.
Yo, that's what's up, man. That's weird, but like it makes sense. Like it's just somehow it fits together like a puzzle.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And like the okay, so if you were to develop video games, so aside from RPGs, what are some of the genres you would love to tackle and jump into?
Let's see. Let me go down a list of all the games I enjoy for the most part. So obviously I grew up on some Mario, which is, just like adventure. Zelda, which is, I guess, action adventure. But if we're getting into other style of games, I love games like The Last of Us, like kind of survival horror. I do like first person shooters to a degree. They aren't my favorite because they're cool, but then after a while it's like, I want to do something else. Yeah. So I know at the top of my list, it would be like adventure RPGs, just something with that flavor, man. Like that's the flavor that it's just, I need to salt base some flavor into a game. Obviously starring Black people, like that's my goal. Like making like a mostly all Black cast, because that's something I would like to see. I've always wanted to see it, but it is what it is. But like, and to segue a little bit, that's kind of why it's funny that like my Final Fantasy skits blowing up because it's all Black characters, even though they got like anime characters. It's all Black characters. So like that's my own Final Fantasy, but it's a fandom thing. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, action RPGs. That's my top if I do make a game studio.
I definitely think we need to see, and I'm kind of curious, like, to get your opinion on why do you think we don't have enough, or why there isn't much, like, more Black characters in video games? Like, you'll see like one or two off in a game, say Final Fantasy VII. You had Barret, and that was it. I'm like, what other Black folks at?
So Black. One chocolate chip in the rice bowl. My opinion, I kind of feel like games, especially now because they're so cinematic and very story driven, you gotta remember they're still anchored in reality no matter how much fantasy is involved. Like it's kind of a reflection of how our world is, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, for the most part, most things are predominantly, say white or what have you. Even with the Final Fantasy games, as much as I love them, they're very influenced by, Western white culture to a degree. Now, over the years, they've kind of changed the aesthetic because the characters look more Japanese. Like they've kind of done like a stylistic, they're still white, but like they look a little more Japanese. Titus is a great example in the Final Fantasy X cutscenes. Like he looks 100% Japanese, him, Yuna, all of them pretty much. But I feel like because Black people for the most part, and I can say this because of Black History Month, like we've kind of received the raw end of the deal. So like consistently society has kind of looked at us like we're here, but you're over there. You went through some stuff, we get it, but you're still over there. Like we're keeping you right there. So I feel like when people, even big studios, make these games and stuff, they're thinking, well, we still live in that society where people like Black people. They just don't always want to see Black people. And I know that sounds harsh, but like, it's like I said, it's the reality we live in. Not saying that like the game studios are racist by any means. It's just they're probably trying to assess what the general public would take to easier. Kind of like when Obama became president, everyone was freaking out, not even on what he stood for, but like the idea, the imagery of a Black man being the president of their United States. Like it was the weirdest. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but that's why I feel
go
like
on that tangent.
It's just, I personally feel like that's why people like us, content creators and stuff, we're kind of pushing that bar and saying, okay, this is the stuff we grew up wanting to see, but we couldn't see. So now once we learn how to do it ourselves, it's not to exclude everyone else. It's just to give us like a platform to do some things, Yeah. But like, I know like if I do make games and stuff like that, it's obviously going to represent Black people, but it's not like going to be like a black. I'm Black, y'all, and I'm Black, y'all. And I'm Black. Like, it's just going to show those characters and like, oh, cool, they're doing stuff. This is their story, but it's like a fantasy or whatever. Like, it's just the visual you get. You know, it's like those are Black characters, little Black kids. I'm like, oh, that's such and such. That's a cool character. I want to be like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it.
No, and when I think about that too, like, you know, I'm Black as well, and well, obviously,
Yeah,
but,
what?
Hey, but like, you know, speaking of like growing up and seeing how like, you know, I was trying to explain this to a friend the other day and they didn't quite get it, a white friend, and I'm like, well, you have to look at it from our perspective. Growing up, watching entertainment, for us, when we saw people that look like us on screen, it was always in the comedic role. It was very rarely, and not to say it didn't happen, but there were, you know, some serious actors. You had Will Smith, who went from comedy just being a serious actor. You had your Denzels. You had your the voice of God. I can't.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. I just call him the voice of God. You already know what I was talking about. But like you had those, but the image was we're just the comedy folks, you know? And so you look at gaming too. Look, like I forgot who I asked this question to, but I asked him, I was like, why is it when you see Black characters in a Final Fantasy game, why do they always have a gun? How come they don't have a sword?
Side, Barrett.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh man.
Right. Right. So I was like, how come they don't have a, like, why? And then why are they always kind of like the comic relief? So
it's like you're like almost like that. I don't know, like that dancing, just like, yeah, I'm here. I'm the Black character. Yeah, like they're cool characters, but it's like they're definitely not meant to overshadow like the cool, you know, swoosh hair hero with the blade that's like 8 feet long. Like, you know, like they're never meant to compete with that. It's just like they're there, they're off to the side. You can, oh, that's such a cute Negro character, and boom. Like I hate to say that, but it's just what it kind of feels like, you know.
And I'd say one of the only more prominent Black characters I've seen in gaming so far has been like Raven in Tekken. Actually,
wait, that's the girl, or wait, because I don't keep up with Tekken. I'm trying to remember. Is that the one who had like the?
He's like Blade. He's basically Blade.
Okay.
Yeah, so they had him. Then they killed him off in Tekken 7. He was like there for like 2 games, and then they're like, nah, he's gone. And then the only other character I could have thought of was like, for the longest, when I was a kid, I used to think K-Dash from King of Fighters was Black. Because he had the dark skin. He had the white. Huh?
He's not Black?
They don't say what he is, but he looks.
It might be implied Blackness, like Skeeter from Doug, remember?
Yeah.
Like that was obviously meant to be a Black friend, like Skeeter. Like that was definitely, and yeah, anyway, that was Black. That was implied Blackness.
But I mean, I'm with you. I definitely would love to see more Black characters in prominent roles, and not in the sense of the whole, like, you know, the whole I'm black. Like, that's
CV4.
cool. Yeah, like that's cool. Yeah, be proud of that. But that's, but you know, like that's not the whole crux of the character. And I feel like a lot of media gets representation wrong, where it's like. It's just like this, you know what I'm saying? Like, just do your thing, and if it's mentioned that you are cool, but like focus on like what you do as a character, like for the sake of the other characters and the environment and all that stuff you're in. You know, same with me. If I was a Black character in the game, I wouldn't run around each time like I'm Black, like, you know what I'm saying? Black Flash. So yeah, man, it's just something I would hope that the industry, and I feel like it will change and it will get better as time goes on. Like I felt like representation was done really well in that Spider-Man Miles Morales. I thought it was really, really good.
I recently beat that. That was so, oh man. The symbolism in that game, so help me God. Like, spoiler alert for anyone out there who hasn't played it, but like, just the way it was like these kids in Harlem, you know, like they're fighting each other. And then you got the Raycon or the, was it RageCon, whatever the company was, Roxxon. You got their head CEO that like Ryan Seacrest head ass, like, I don't know. Like, that
Ryan Seacrest?
I don't know. That villain with the scarf, the overconfident, like 30-something-year-old white dude. You know him in every movie. So the fact that he was like, he was watching them kill each other. Like Miles was fighting Finn, which is his friend, basically. The tickler, what was it? The teaser, the tinkerer. Like he was fighting them. And like you hear his voice come over. He's like, oh, by the way, I don't care if you guys destroy your city or that area, because I got tons of these Roxxon factories all over the place. So you guys have fun, destroy your neighborhood, I'm out. And like that was so symbolic. That part hurt me once I realized, wait, this is what we're doing. Like Finn and Miles fighting each other from the same hood, grew up together, but like they've been turned against each other on behalf of this like Roxxon, again, Ryan Seacrest head ass dude. But like I love that game so much, man. It was so good. It was so good.
Okay, so for the young folks who don't know Ryan Seacrest, I don't know how you don't know Ryan Seacrest, because you see him in everything. Yeah. It's just a typical. It's like an archetypical like RPG character or gaming character. They have like, go Google them. Y'all got Google. Go Google them, motherfucker.
And the disclaimer I want to give, like anyone who's out there who's gonna watch this or listen, I'm not against Ryan Seacrest at all, or middle-aged white men for that matter. Like it's nothing like that. Everything I'm saying is just like observational, and we're just having a discussion. Don't come at me like that. I promise it's not that kind of party. Like I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there.
They're gonna be like hashtag cancel Cloudie.
I'm just supposed to picture myself just like I give up. I tried to explain, I give up.
Oh man. So dude, I would love to see, and I don't know if this is in the works or if this is gonna happen at some point, but my good friend Alex Mccalla and you do something together would be awesome.
Oh yeah, he makes crazy good music, man. That guy's awesome.
Phenomenal.
He's like he be jamming that bass, man. He just be killing. Like he got it, man. And I always comment on this stuff when I see it on Twitter. Like he'll post the song samples and stuff, and I usually drop my little quirky ha 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 moment. You know, like get up and there. But yeah, he's cool, man.
Definitely, man. Definitely. So one of the videos that you did, and it's up on YouTube, and I hope you guys go and check it out. If you haven't already, make sure you go sub to Cloudie's YouTube channel. Go follow him on, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Go stalk him on every platform. Stalk, figure of speech stalk.
Yeah, I've had a couple of just Cloudie McDoom, yeah.
Yeah. So there was a skit you did, bruh. I was dying. So it was a skit you did when you were talking about like the cosplayer. You were cosplaying as Deku.
Oh, yeah. It was a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't have me dying.
Yeah, man. That's me and Kanigra. Shout out to Kanigra. That's our Smashing a Geek miniseries.
By the way, he ain't weird per se, just a little eccentric. What you mean he kind of eccentric? Janine. Janine.
You must be Kanigra.
Yep, that's me.
Heard a lot of good things about you.
Did you?
I'm Cloudie.
Hi.
And And we've already filmed episode 2 and 3. It's just she has such a big queue of other videos that she releases way before. So like that probably won't come out until like March or something, the second episode. But yeah, definitely coming. Like that was just fun because it's like a joke on regular black chicks. You can probably relate to this. So
yeah,
black girls didn't like me like at all. Like they were like, you lame ass. Like, you know, I'm trying to be politically correct, but you lame ass. So like I took that moment from my life back in high school and I translated it into like a regular adult situation. So this girl's on a blind date that her friend set her up on. She's like, yeah, he's cool. He's just a little eccentric. So the girl opens the door. I bust in dressed as Deku from My Hero Academia. I just got special effects and all. So it's just the awkward like first date. The whole time she's being a regular, as she should, black chick, assessing this grown ass man dressed as Deku. And it's just a funny exchange and just, oh man, and she's cool though. Like I pitched that idea to her and she loved it. So we did it.
It's funny because, and look, it ain't for anyone watching. Don't get offended. Don't cancel us. But look, growing up back then, if you was black and into gaming, tech, or nerd, anime especially back then, I'm sorry, but black chicks wouldn't fool with you.
Nope.
They wouldn't. If you wasn't hood, it wasn't happening. You wasn't hood, you wasn't getting no good. That's how it was. Good. Bro, I was in South Memphis and it wasn't happening at all. I mean, the white girls, the Asian girls, the Hispanic, especially the Hispanic girls, it was happening. Black chicks was like, nah, you lame.
Yeah, it was. Oh, those were dark times. So yeah, it's like being able to make that skit and kind of pay homage to my youth, but in a funny way. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you know, and that's kind of how me and Kanigra mesh so well because we're so different. Like she's a very, like I say regular, not in a demeaning way, but she's, you know, standard like black woman. Like she's, you know, like so like just
strong will, strong opinion, yeah.
Yeah. So like me being on the opposite end of that spectrum, but us both being black creators, like it's just cool to bring those worlds together, you know, because it's showing people also from an educational standpoint that like we aren't all cut from the same cloth. Like we're black, but we have various like styles and like, you know, interests for that matter. You know, not everybody likes rap music or whatever. I mean, I like rap, but I'm saying like, you know, assuming black people are like a cookie cutter, this is what you have to be considered black. Like we're crushing that, you know what I'm saying? Because even as the series goes on, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like me and her character kind of start to like have a understanding of one another as it goes on. So
I feel you. I mean, so since we on that topic, how was it growing up back in the day as a black nerd?
Let's see. Well, this is because I'm in my 30s. This dates back to like early 90s and stuff like that. You know,
so we same age range.
Yeah, like it's not that I got beat up or anything by any means, because I went to a small private school. So like I guess that was the only slight luxury I had. Like you can make fun of me, but like I know who you are, and it's only like 8 or 9 of you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not a lot of people who can really like help you with the roasting. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I think for me, it was hard to find that true identity in a sense of that didn't come until after I graduated and really came into my own. But back then, you know, you enjoy the stuff you enjoy, but there's still that low key, like, man, I wish some of the popular girls would at least like give me a chance, or, you know, like that kind of stuff. And, you know, when you kind of sit alongside your family and they're into normal stuff like sports and what have you, and you aren't really vibing with that, nothing against them. You kind of want to do your own thing. You do feel a little alienated. But again, like everything comes with time once you like just learn yourself, you know, experience life, you know, good and bad. I feel like it kind of balances things out. So I can honestly say I didn't have a horrible like experience as a nerd growing up. Again, I wasn't getting beat up and put in trash cans or nothing, you know. So most of my struggle would have been just like internal or just small little incidents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's just weird. Well, for me, I find it weird, not in a bad way, but it's okay. Let me strike that. Not weird. Interesting. It's interesting seeing how things that are popular now or mainstream pop culture, geek culture now. Yeah. When we were growing up, that was the stuff that was just like, nah, you're not into that.
Black people don't do
like, like looking at like video games is like the biggest industry right now. You got anime is like everywhere. I remember, dude, you remember back when it was like Sailor Moon and like, was it Sailor Moon? You had Gundam, Dragon Ball, and then it would just like go on repeat, like get to a certain arc, stop, restart.
Yeah, we didn't have enough like anime or anything to jump to, so it was like, well, here's back to the beginning. I remember that, especially with Dragon Ball Z.
Right, what is it? It got always got to like the
Namek side.
Super, yeah, and it just restarted it.
Because they were still recording the new voice actors, if I'm not mistaken, like the new wave of voice actors.
Yeah.
Goku, Sean Shamel, and all them. So it would get to when they're fighting Raccoon and the Ginyu Force, I think.
Yep.
I think that's when they'll have to cut because they didn't have anything to go to. So it moves back to the beginning. And then I remember them announcing the new episodes. I remember this like it was yesterday. That would have been like 5th or 6th grade, 1990 something. Yeah. So like, I remember me and my friends being excited. Like, oh man, the new episodes come, rush home. And the voices were different. So I remember, me personally, I was like, that's not Goku. That doesn't sound like, why is Vegeta's voice so deep? What happened? What happened? I remember feeling that. And then you get used to it, and then it's like, okay, this is the new way. As long as we get some new episodes, and then him going Super Saiyan, that fixed everything. Because it was like, you know what? Hey, he went Super Saiyan after Krillin and them got blown up and stuff. Oh man. Sorry, I'm having flashbacks to that. Like, I remember how hyped I got, me and my friends, because that episode, you think, and we're going off on a DBZ tangent, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. You
think that Frieza's been killed. It's like we spirit bombed him. Everything's good. He comes out of the water, snipes Goku. No, he snipes either Dende or Piccolo. Somebody gets sniped. I don't remember who it was, but somebody got shot.
Yeah. I think it was Dende. Yeah.
It became Boys in the Hood at this point. So Frieza came back. Pow! It gets quiet. And then Krillin starts floating. It's like, why is he floating? What's going on? Blew him up. Blew Krillin up. And that's when, like, oh, man, just watching Goku go into that rage mode. Going from, like, oh, I'm super happy Goku to, like, you killed my dogs. You killed my boys. Now I got that's on gang. I got to kill you, Frieza. Like, oh, that was an experience, man.
Just nothing like it. Like you go back, you look at the anime that we got to see growing up, man. Like from that to Cowboy Bebop. Like I remember when Toonami became a thing, bruh.
Yes, man. Now I'm taking down memory lane. It's cool. Like, it's great.
Like there's some of the stuff like I got exposed to, like Trigun, Outlaw Star. Cowboy Bebop, Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin, like,
I to kind of reel us back to what you were asking me, like, yeah, like we grew up in a time where, and we say it like it's the 1940s or something. Back in the day, when we didn't have back in the 90s. So like when anime was still making its way over to America for real, like, it was a rarer thing in a sense of. I think everyone else, cartoons to them was like SpongeBob or Rugrats, Nickelodeon. Like that was cartoons to them. Anything else was just weird. Like I don't know what you're watching, but you keep that to yourself. So obviously in Black culture back then, it was a very slow start, because like I can imagine myself trying to do the stuff I do now back in the 90s. I'd probably get put in like a mental institution or like. I don't even what I'm saying? Like, if I didn't have the platforms I got now, if you saw me walking like a video game character with wigs and stuff on outside, that's a wrap. Like, you taking me out. Like, I'm going straight to whatever mental institution is around.
911.
Yeah.
Go lock this one.
Look, this is not how I want to spend my 1999. There's some guy, some kid going around. I don't know.
Dude, imagine cosplaying as Squall or Cloud back then.
Oh. Man, okay, I will say that's right, because the internet wasn't booming like it is now with social media. So like you might luck out if one person, which I doubt locally, like because all your friends would have been like across the world. But like if one person out in public saw you doing it, they might be like, hey, that's cool, man. Don't stand next to me and show me, but like that's cool. I don't want people to see me with you. That's cool. So you know.
Oh god. Oh man. So shit, I lost my train of thought. I was so tired. I was down memory lane, which I was like, damn.
I know, man.
Oh man. So what's the content creator scene like where you at?
The scene here in Birmingham, like it's especially now with lockdown or quarantine, because everyone's out doing stuff now, but like it's decent. But even before quarantine, it was very how can I put this? People in LA, from what I heard, like out in Los Angeles, they do treat it like an actual job. So they'll get together as a group and be like, okay, we're gonna all film this. You know, you with me with you. Like they're very mechanical with it because they take it seriously. Out here, you know, you kind of have to do a lot of hunting and like, hey, do you want to meet me on a Saturday to do this skit or whatever? And it's usually just a friend or somebody. But there's not like something they're really passionate about. They're just like, yeah, I'll do it because, you know, we're goofing around. So the scene here, I can't really say it's a scene, you know? And basically because I've been doing most of my stuff by myself now because of quarantine, with my trusty green screen and just in the house, with the exception of Canigra. It's just kind of, I don't know, like it's not a huge scene here in Beham.
Yeah, that's better than Hawaii. That's still better than Hawaii, dude. Like, so I'm gonna piss people off in Hawaii. I tend to piss people off here anyway.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, y'all can cancel me. Hashtag cancel Mccalla. Anyway, folks in Hawaii and content creators in Hawaii are so fixated on trying to appeal to a Hawaii demographic that's like they miss a global audience. Like, okay, I get shit all the time from folks out here. They're like, well, how come you don't, you know, appeal to folks here? How come you don't have all these local folks on? I'm like, no, pause, hit the brakes. I've had them on. But the thing is, things that pop here are not going to pop globally. You know, and from a marketing perspective, I'm like, you want to get as many eyes on the product, not just folks where you at. Yeah. And a lot of people here don't get that. So like, you know, we got streaming communities out here. We got Twitch Hawaii. We got Video Gamers Hawaii, PC Gamers Hawaii. We got all these like Splinter Cell groups out here that are fixated on here, but missing the bigger picture. And it's like trying to do collaborations with people. And I'm not sure if you've run into this thing too, but like for me, so my wife and I are both full-time content creators. Like she her whole, so you probably can't see her sells behind me. So she does gaming and anime, but her main thing is like she does manga and anime. So like we'll do collaborations, and whatever pace I'm working at, like I treat it as a job, but I love it too.
Yeah.
And so does she. So we're working at the same level. I'll be honest, I haven't met anyone else in Hawaii that's doing content creating that's really working at this level. It's like, oh, let's hang out. No, I'm got work to do. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So it's like, have you had to deal with people that's not trying to work at the rate or the energy that you're at?
You know, I can honestly say I lucked out in regards to, like I mentioned before, when I would invite friends over to be in skits and stuff, they were excited about it. Like, I want you to think they were just like, I guess so. But like, you know, we do those and it was fun to do them, but it is hard to be consistent with it because everyone has schedules and lives and stuff. And also which I hate that it happened this way, but when I was posting this content on AKIOBOY, people didn't care about it because they only got on that YouTube channel for cosplay videos. So anytime a skit I put work into would pop up on there, they were just like, where's the cosplay at? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the vibe I got. So like, now that I have my own platform, even though I still own AKIOBOY, but I'm focused more on Cloudie now. Now that I actually have eyes on my content, you know, it would be possible for me to maybe reach out to some local people and be like, hey, AKIOBOY's still there, but let's just come together, make a skit on my channel, tag your names, whatever. I'm toying with that idea. So to answer your question, I haven't had trouble with my local friends, but there's been a couple times where somebody kind of knew and it's like they want to do it, but they give me the runaround. So I'm chasing them for like a week or two, like, hey, you still want to meet up on? I'll let you know. Just get me back, hit me back on like the 3rd. So okay, it's the 3rd. You still want to do it? So I've had only a couple of those, you know, and they weren't like close friends. They were just like people.
Okay. So as far as like, you know, AKIOBOY and Cloudie McDoom. So speaking, I guess, jumping over to the topic of branding, you know, as a business and everything. So how important or imperative is it to establish a brand, and what do you feel, so it's a two-pronged question, what do you feel is the way to cultivate it and expand it?
I think branding is really important from my personal perspective, like not even from a textbook or some actual Google article, but like, I feel like branding is important because 1, it shows people you're serious about what you're doing. 2, it builds that trust with your audience because it's like they get familiar with a face, an image, a sound, a graphic, whatever, something that ties you to them. You know, kind of like when you always watch Nickelodeon, you know, Nickelodeon, like that hits at the beginning of every other show. You know, Adult Swim with this little like ending cards with the black screen and the text, like it's stuff that you familiarize yourself with that brand. But like, I think it's important because you don't ever want to just post your stuff on your personal, say, Facebook page or something. Like that's cool, but you need to go ahead and make yourself like an actual like branded page for your stuff, your content. Because again, it's like the way it looks, the presentation is there. You know, like my stuff, like Cloudie McDoom is consistent across each platform. I got my little cartoon icon. You know, I got my video game themes, like my font is like 8-bit, like it's consistent. You know, like that way people know, okay, this guy's into games and cosplay and weird stuff. Like we can vibe with that. You know, like I've done a good job of making sure it's consistent with that. You know, as in tomorrow, I'm not gonna come out with like a NASCAR video or something. You know, like it's not relevant to my brand. And sorry, and then your other question. Sorry, what was the
other
second
one? Was cultivating it and expanding it.
Yeah, that's important. Kind of like we talked about earlier with the social media platforms, utilizing those to your advantage because they're free. They're here. We're free for the most part. I mean, obviously Facebook, you have to kind of pay to play. It seems like, but definitely engage your audience too. I've noticed that I knew how important engagement was, and this blew my mind. People would send me messages, and me thinking like my regular Facebook, I was like, oh, it's a message. I'll respond to them. And their reaction was, oh my God, you responded to me? Like you're talking to me? It's like, well, yeah. I mean, what's the big deal? Like in my mind, it's like, what's the big deal? But that means that my brand has hit that ripple effect where like I'm in the middle, and you can attest to this, like you're in the middle of your ripple and you don't know how far it actually goes out. How many people can see your work? You're in the middle working and grinding, making the ripples. So that's when I understood like that to be true. You know what I'm saying? So like branding is everything.
Yeah. I will have to say this. When I reached out to you, so I'm gonna piss somebody off with this, but when I reached out to you, I was nervous because I've had 1 or 2 experience when I reach out to people. Either they cool as hell, and you cool as hell, or what you see is not what you get. Let's just put it that way. So I appreciate you being just as energetic and amazing as you are in your content. Like I'm seeing like there's what you see is what you get, and I appreciate that because years I've been doing this. especially when it comes to voice actors. And I'm cool with a lot of them, friends with a lot. My best friend is Ruben Langdon. So,
Oh man.
dude, man, I got stories. So yeah, if you ever do come out here, he comes out here every year. I introduce you to Dante. So, so like, it's one of those things because like I've been told before by some other content creators that like one of the things that I do, like I built my brand just from reaching out, making quality content, making a show. And, you know, when I say #1 podcast in Hawaii, a lot of people are like, oh, you're just saying that. No, metrically speaking, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So I've been told that reaching out damages my brand, makes me come off like I'm desperate. And I'm like, what podcast or outlet or journalist don't reach out to anyone?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's an odd mentality because what's funny is, and I'm not going to call anybody out, and I don't think they'll hear this, but like I've had instances where when I was a smaller page or didn't have a ton of like clout, quote unquote, I would hit up other content creators. I'm like, hey, you know, I make videos. Here's some of my stuff. Would you ever want to collab? And they either read it or they just like, oh, I'm not interested right now or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I noticed over time, once I did get a little bigger, some of those people would come back. They're like, oh, hey, you want to, you know, do this and that, the third. And it was always confusing because I'm thinking to myself, like, well, wait, what changed between when I first posted my stuff? I'm the same dude. Like, I'm the same dude. But, you know, it's funny, like, how people's perception of you changes depending on how many, like, followers or likes you have, you know. But in terms of what you said, like, I don't think it's rude or anything to reach out and ask people. It's like, hey, I do podcasts. I need to see if someone wants to be interviewed. Like, it's not the big deal, you know? Like, that's kind of how you do it.
Yeah.
It'd be different if you were like, say if you were like begging, like say some big name person, right? And like you like comment on their stuff every day, like, hey, check your mail, and send them like 1,000 emails or something. Yeah, then you might be pushing that line of like, okay, that's doing the most. But if you just ask somebody, there's no shame in that.
Man, I tell people it's like this. I approach reaching out to people like I do, well, like I used to when I was single, when I was reaching out to women. Look, either she will or she won't. I shoot my shot. Either it happens. If it does, cool. If it doesn't, all right, cool. I'm good. Cause it's like you never know. And for me, like when it comes to like reaching out and whatnot, I'm always nervous, dude. I'm still nervous. I'm talking to you, cool as hell. I love your content, but I'm still nervous because it's like I can't believe you're talking to me. Like even as long as I've been doing this as a career and as a hobby, it still blows my mind the people I've gotten to talk to, befriend, do collaborations with, because I'm from like I'm in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's like there's no one else here in Hawaii doing this. So I'm like, all right, cool. This is surreal. I never thought I'd be out. Like my wife and I are huge fans of your work, man. That's why I'm trying to say that. It's like it's just super surreal. I'm getting the opportunity to talk to you, so I super appreciate it. So,
and here's some peace of mind is like I don't believe my own hype. Like I know, here's the thing. I know that like number wise, like I have like this amount of follows and blah blah blah. But like I made it a point to stay here. You know, like if I get too high with it, like it's gonna hurt hard as hell when I fall. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm always flattered when people are like, hey man, be on my podcast. I'm like, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you showed me like your stuff, like, hey, here's stuff I've done, and it was impressive. It'd be different if it was like some kid or some young person who was like, hey, I don't want kids to think I hate kids or something. But like if some person was just like, hey man, be on my podcast, and I look on their page and it's like, well, there's nothing like to at least reference, I might still give it a chance, but like I'd be a little kind of like, oh well. Good example. I've had a lot of people message me like, hey Cloudie, let's collab. I'm like, okay, can you show me some of your videos and stuff? And they're like, no. I'm like,
no.
You're like, I don't have any. And I'm like, oh, well, I was like, well, I was just hoping to see what you do, like, so I could at least study your style. I'm like, oh, I don't have any. I'm like, oh well, you know, man, just hit me up one day, and once you get some content put together, I'm like, I just want to collab, and I don't know what that means. So like, you know, those are the only issues I had like that.
So in situations like that, have you ever had the thought, or has it ever happened to you where, you know, because you are an established creator, established, you know, I'm gonna say it too, established entrepreneur as well, entertainer. Do you ever have a feeling that people only want to collaborate with you or work with you because of your platform, because of what you're doing, what they're seeing, and the success of it?
Yeah, I do know that is a reality in some cases, and I accept it. You know, I consider it like a milestone of like I'm climbing a ladder. It's like I hit that particular rung. It's like, okay, some people do want some of your clout. You know what I'm saying? Like I get it, because like I've had some people who follow me and they'll message me and be like, oh my God, I love your work. I love your work. I'm like, thank you. And they're like, so will you follow me back? And I'm like, oh, you know, like they'll curveball me with that. You know, it's not, it suddenly doesn't feel like they like my stuff, but it's almost like it had that underhanded, like ulterior, like, by the way, now that I've buttered you up, Cloudie, because I've had some people, like, if I didn't follow them back, like they don't follow. So like, you know, I mean, it happens, you know what I'm saying? So I just chalk it up to being part of the game. And I imagine it'll get worse. Like, say if I hit like 500,000 Instagram or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, more people like that will emerge. And I just have to use discretion and just kind of, you know, see who actually puts in the work, you know, like you and other people versus people who just like, I just want to say I'm followed by Cloudie McDoom or whatever, you know? It's just whatever. I'm just enjoying the ride and creating stuff. So
I feel you, man. And winding down to the last couple of questions, being respectful of your time, because I know you got a lot of things you're working on. What are some things you like to do in your own spare time when you're not creating content, you're not recording, you're not doing the damn thing? What are some things you like to do in the world of Cloudie?
Of course, I'm you know, big on video games, but like, and even that's kind of work now because I stream them. But aside from that, like I love movies. I love watching TV shows. Like I've been on a 90s kick recently watching like Moesha, the Parkers.
Oh, dude.
Like I've been
childhood right there.
I used to see those episodes. Like I flip on BET, but like I didn't like watch all of them, you know, because it was like it's on, it's funny. I go do something else. So I've been really diving into that world and just since I'm big in like directing and like cinematography and stuff. I've been studying just like how they do their shows, you know, like the camera angles they use, the timing of like the actors, you know what I'm saying? What makes this funny versus what makes that lame. You know what I'm saying? Like I really sit and dissect that stuff. I'll sit downstairs on my couch and just like take mental notes, you know, of each episode. So that's a big hobby of mine. I like to jog. I haven't done it in a while because it's cold outside, but I love to jog. I like to draw. You know, I've been an artist all my life before the videos. So I try to draw in my spare time. So, you know, just living.
Sir, draw. Let's talk about it. What we talking? We talking like, what kind of drawing? Is some of that you got behind you?
Actually, so this is from like high school. This would have been like 2004 or 5. So this was like a something I drew so I can get like.
Something you drew, sir. Yeah. That quality right there.
Say what?
That quality. Start flexing.
I mean, it's like, you know, it's just, you know, it's just something.
Get rid of that humbleness, sir.
I mean, like I've been drawing that kind of stuff for years, but like, again, that was well over 15, 16 years ago. So like, you know, I've been doing stuff like that. I wish I was wearing one of my shirts now. I could show you one I drew recently. Like, it pays homage to all my characters that I've been cosplaying and stuff. Matter of fact, you probably recognize some of these characters. I'm sure I can hold it up. So like, so I have like my Cloud Strife, regular Cloudie. Let me get the camera on there.
I see him.
Yeah, so like, I hope I'm scrolling right, but it's hard to tell like what everything is. But like, yeah, these are all characters like I've done in my videos, you know? Like September right there. You know, so it's just, yeah, stuff like that. I mean, it's easy to draw. Like, that's just basic stuff. But I do more complicated things, too.
I mean, I'm over here like, stop being humble, man. And okay. So is that something you plan to like do something with, like, or is it just going to stay a hobby? Because you got a gift.
I appreciate it, man. I think with the art, my art has evolved. Like, so I used to draw comics and stuff when I was younger, in that style. And I think that slowly went into like, I mean, I was already doing RPG Maker stuff, but I was drawing at the same time. Like at school, when there's an RPG Maker, you draw. And then I get older, I start making videos and short films and stuff. That's still art to me. Like when I have like some of my friends dress as certain characters, like I'll say, all right, I want you to dress like this mental image I have. Wear this fur jacket. Do your hair like that. Wear black boots. Like, so I'm still like design. I'm character designing in real life. So like, I feel like with the drawing, that'll come back in handy. Say if I do some game development stuff where I have to come up with character concepts. Good example. I keep going back to the Final Fantasy shit because it's relevant. Which, by the way, shameless plug. Anybody out there who wants to subscribe to my channel, I'm trying to hit 50K. Yeah, I'm trying to hit 50K subs so I can release part 3 of the algorithm fight. You'll know what that means later. So like, even those characters, Radicus, he's like the main dude with the sword. That was a character design, even though it's just a jacket and like a necklace and some shorts. Like that's me character designing. With the red sneakers and stuff. Like that was almost like I was drawing, but just using stuff I had in the room. So, it's here.
So on average, like how much time do you usually have in a given day to like really, between time for yourself, time for content creating, time for significant other, like how do you schedule everything out, or on top of work?
So with work, I lucked out because right now we working from home, just given the pandemic. So it's like that's definitely a pro and con situation because I hate this pandemic anyway that shut everything down. But when it forced everyone to stay indoors and like quarantine, like by any means necessary, it kind of gave me more freedom to like do my work downstairs, like my emails and calls and stuff, and then come upstairs and like work on my stuff, opposed to before where I have to drive like 2-3 hours to get out to a location. I'm a recruiter for the construction industry. Like I have to drive all the way out there to a school or something, talk to people, and then come back, which would eat up a whole day. Versus now where it's just like, and then it's done. So like, as far as scheduling it out, I just I'm not the best at scheduling time. Like it's hard for me, like especially if I'm in a flow. And I've done this before. I hate to admit it, but like I was supposed to hang out with friends, but I'll be editing something and I'm so in it that I'll just hit them up, like text them like, yo man, something came up and I gotta stay home. You know how it is, and I just go straight back to editing. So I've done that. I have no shame. I've done it.
Okay.
So I'm not the best at scheduling.
No, I know how it is, and it's like you have the best intention of trying to schedule out what you're trying to do, but it's like you kind of, I mean, especially with this pandemic thing, the concept of time has been just screwed anyway.
Yeah, it's like blended. It's like somebody took a bunch of paint buckets that represent time and just like poured it together. Like it's so, I don't even know.
Dude, it's Thursday. I'm over here like, where did Monday go?
Just like the movie. Yeah, like it's just, oh wow.
Dude, it's super wild. So before we go, like what are some things, if you had to give advice to anyone who, let's take a brush and make this a broad stroke. So if you had to give advice to anyone who wanted to get into being, cosplayer, or content creator, artist, whatever, who wants to get into this field that we're in, what advice would you give them?
I would say the first part of this is going to be very cliche, and that is be yourself, right? Definitely be yourself. Because you have to remember, and what I've learned too is the content I make, like it's designed to entertain people, but it's also stuff that I love. Like I'll do it, and if it makes me laugh, I'm gonna post it and love it. You know what I'm saying? Like if I watch it edit, I'm like, ha ha ha, that's ridiculous, it's stupid. I'm sold on it, even if it only got 10 views or 10 likes. So you got to be your biggest fan, you know, along with being like true to yourself. And my other advice is just don't be distracted by the fame of other people, you know, because I used to struggle with that, where I would put my heart and soul into content, right? Like I would be up for hours doing this, editing that, yada, yada, filming this. And I would think it's cool. But then like it doesn't hit as well. And then right above me on the timeline is some girl. And again, this is no disrespect to anyone out here who does this stuff. I'm just making an example observation. Some girl who posts like they call them thirst trap, like a selfie where she's just like half naked and that thing explodes. She's got like 10 billion retweets, all these comments, an influx of followers. And it's almost like, you know why? Because I mean, I get it. Sex sells. We're built that way. Like you can't fight nature. I don't care what you say. You can't fight it. You know what I'm saying? There's an industry built around this thing. So like, I understand why it happens, but it would still discourage me at one time until I had to accept the fact that we're in two different lanes. So like, I can't be salty at them getting their followers because that's their particular kind of followers. The ones I have now, they like me for me and like the content. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, yeah, some like my self-thought and that's my thirst trap, my self-thought character. But like, they like the genuine stuff I put out, the content. You know what I'm saying? Like they love the nostalgia, they love the editing, and that's what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, excuse me, you know, and I'm not saying that those fans who follow thirst trap girls don't like them. Like, I mean, that's their simp army, if you will. And that works. That's their brand. That's what they're doing. But point being is like, I had to come to a place and accept that everyone is going to appeal to different people, but don't let what person A and person B is doing affect how you see things. So, you know, that's how I view it.
It's real easy to lose yourself in it, especially within this field. Like, you know, I've seen a lot of people, especially, you know, I do video game reviews. I remember when the Switch came out and a lot of people that were my peers at the time, and not saying that they're not still my peers, but like we were all on the same level. Yeah. They switched to the Switch content and blew up. So you got your spawn waves, you got your player essences, you got, you know, beat 'em up woods, you got all these people that just literally blew up at the same time because they were just covering one thing. And I'm over here like, well, I'm still doing this, and this because I'm not solely just interested in just this one thing. I get it with the clicks, but it's easy to compare yourself to someone else, to lose sight of why you're doing it. And if you ever get to the point, and I had to check myself recently for it, but if you ever get to the point where you aren't enjoying this anymore, take steps back, reassess why you're doing it. And if you can't find joy in it, no harm in letting it go for the time, for a bit.
And like I said, those numbers, they can really play with your head because social media it's a double-edged sword. Like it's definitely a good avenue to get your stuff out there, but it's also reconditioning our minds to think that like, okay, this thing has 10 billion likes, it must be good. When in reality, that thing over there with like 32 likes is phenomenal. You don't perceive it that way because again, the numbers, they mess with your mind. Because what it's telling you is that like, well, this many people like it, and it's in our nature to want to be like other people. Like we want to conform with each other. That's how we're built. Like you don't want to be the outcast. So it's like, well, I must like this funny video because 10 billion people like it, you know? So like it sucks that it's like that, but you just kind of have to ride the waves. And even with trends, you know, you can dip your foot in trends every now and again because like it's not gonna hurt anything. Like I said, I've done it with the Resident Evil, even though I don't know jack about the series besides that first game. I did it, and that got me a lot of, you know, follows and junk. But again, man, it's just, you know, being true, like you said, being true to who you are, sticking with your content that you want to make. Like, make sure it's stuff you can watch, because I can watch my videos. Some of them are cringe. I ain't gonna lie, my old ones, but like I can still watch them and enjoy them for what they were at the time. You know, like I can still be like, you know what, that was fun to do. I've gotten a lot better at my effects and junk, but like that was still fun to do, and I'm proud of it. So
I feel you. All right, so here's my last question to you. It's the most important question.
all right.
Best Final Fantasy.
Let's see. I was always fixated on FF9, but when FF7 Remake came out, I'm going to exclude FF7 Remake because it's a remake. I'm going to say 9 is my favorite. It's still my favorite. Like FF9 is my favorite. And
You
then
remember-
probably 10.
You remember back in the day when people hated on 9, but they love it now?
You know, it's weird. Like when I first played it, like again, this was back in like 2000 or so. I didn't get on a lot of forums and stuff to see people talking trash on the games because remember, social media wasn't even like a thing. So like, I knew what I liked, and I would go to school and talk about it with a handful of friends. And like my best friend on AIM, AOL Instant Messenger, way back. So like, that was the extent of like my world with that. You know what I'm saying? So even if I ever hopped on a forum and saw people talking trash on it, I didn't care. I liked FF9. Like that was it. Like even with RPG Maker, I find those sprites that someone designed, put them in my game. Like I was happy.
All right, yeah. I remember back in the day, like reading a lot of a couple of magazines because I think a lot of people, especially here in the West, I think a lot of people hopped on Final Fantasy when it went mainstream with 7 and 8, so they were expecting, oh, this is what it is, and then 9 came out, like, what the hell is this? Like, what is this fancy thing? Like, well, it's in the title, Final Fantasy.
Man, the thing about 9 is that I like that all right, so here's the thing. 7 was their first 3D Final Fantasy game, period. That was the first one ever. So, like, they had the polygonal characters and stuff, the blocky, the block hands and stuff. And then 8 comes and they're super tall, like anime characters. And then 9 kind of, you can understand they had a lot more flexibility with 3D graphics. So it's like they made them these unique kind of stubby characters. But it was almost reminiscent to the old school Final Fantasy games. Like not quite. They weren't like Chibi where they had like huge heads, but they were definitely stubby characters in that universe. Nobody was like just hella tall, with the exception of Homer, Coral, and Freya. But like, like that was a cool style. I loved it. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't like 8. I'll be honest with you. Like I played 8 and like I got through it, but like I wasn't like crazy about it. I mean, I'm sure if I played it now, I might feel different, but
that junction system though.
Yeah, I was like, this junction of magic and stuff, like I ain't really feeling that. I mean, me personally. But
Oh man. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with before we go? Is anything you want to plug? Dude, and don't be shy, plug everything. I'm gonna leave links to everything in the description anyway.
Yeah. Just hit the description. If you guys want to follow me on social media. Again, I'm trying to get that YouTube up to 50K by June. That's my goal by June. It's at like 13.4K right now, so we're doing good. And yeah, just tune into my stuff if you want to check it out. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, cool. And again, actually, before I say that, final question, the real final question. I lied because I got a final question. Did you have fun?
Yeah. Like this was, like I said, most of the podcasts I've been doing, people are super chill, but you definitely have a lot of energy and like you make it easy to kind of just spit off with your mouth, like you just kind of chill and just let people run their mouth like I've been doing. That's cool, like it never felt interrupted. Like it was, I might have interrupted you sometime. I might have done that to you. And I apologize. But it was cool.
It's cool, man. And definitely, man, we got to have you back on the show. I had an absolute blast having you on. And yeah, people, if you haven't already, stop listening, watching, however you're consuming this podcast. Cut that shit right now. Go over to his YouTube channel. Link's going to be in the description. Hit the sub button. Ding the notification bell because you know how YouTube is busted when it comes.
I forgot to tell people to do that.
Like, and even when they do hit the notification bell, YouTube be like, "Nah, I ain't telling you when that person."
Oh,
yeah,
no. Well.
the whole algorithm.
Oh man!
Make sure you go follow them on all social media platforms. Links to everything is going to be down below, and again, thank you for coming on the show. It has been such an honor. I hope you do come out here to Hawaii. If you ever do, let me know. Got a place to stay if you ever need to. We got a house. We got a 5-bedroom house. So we right here.
Oh, balling.
Yeah. we lucked out. We got a house. We were able to get this house on the cheap. And it's we took care of, renovated it. So it's sitting literally. So we're two blocks down, 2 houses down from here in Sakaguchi. We're 2 blocks away from Waikiki, literally in the center of everything. So I'm just saying, all my industry friends, content creators, they ever come out to Hawaii, they always stay with us. So you need a place to stay, you got it.
I'll check plane tickets. Maybe my girl can come out there, man. That'd be cool. We love that.
Definitely, man. Just let me know. Like I said, you got a place. So it's as good as done. And again, love to have you back on. If y'all haven't already, I already said it, but go. It's gonna be what, the 3rd, 4th, 5th? I hadn't lost count of how many damn times I ain't said this. Go support my man and just amazing content. It's inspiring. This conversation has been inspiring. It's been educational, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, taking time out of your busy day. I know you got to prep for stuff, but this wraps up this episode of the podcast. If you want to catch this and many other episodes, we're on every major podcasting outlet. So Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon just reached out to us. So we're out on Amazon Music as well. So go check us out over there. Video version of the podcast is on youtube.com/Mccalla. And we are also on Twitch. So catch us over there. And with that being said, this is Cloudie and I. We're signing out. Y'all have a good one. Be easy. Wear your mask. Deal with the social distancing as best you can. And have a good day.
Take care.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. I hope it was informative, engaging, and you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure you go ahead and leave a rating and a review. It greatly helps out the podcast and helps the platforms that we're on go ahead and promote us more so that more people can check it out. And if you're wondering what all platforms we're on, aside from what you've listened to it on, we're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Pandora, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more. And if you want to support the podcast, then we've got Patreon, so patreon.com/Kasanova, which allows us to continue doing what we're doing. If you're looking for this in video format, we're also available on twitch.tv/Kasanova, as well as youtube.com/Kasanova. So with all that being said, I'll catch you on the next episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast and the #1 podcast in the Pacific, the Kasanova Podcast. You have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.